So I'm Paul Karpfinger, General Superintendent of Edgerton Contractors. So growing up, I was fed by Edgerton Contractors since the day I was born. My dad worked here, my uncle worked here, my brother worked here before me, a little bit while I was here. But kind of grew up with it. It wasn't the track that I thought I was going to go on growing up. I actually went to school for fire science. I was going to be a firefighter. That was my dream. But I worked here summers since I was 14 years old. Worked vacations, worked everything, and it just kind of gets into your blood. One good story I had from my younger years, I was probably, 7 or 8 years old. My dad used to take me to the office when we were on 13th Street. On Sundays when he'd do his paperwork and I'd be outside, and I had a little motor scooter at the time, which was a big deal for me. We had a big gravel driveway there. I was riding up and down, and my Uncle Barney at the time pulled in the driveway and he asked me, he says, "Wouldn't that thing be a lot more fun with a jump?" And I says, "Yeah, it would be cool." And he says, "Well, go run that load or dozer over there." And he says, "Make yourself a jump." He says, "I don't know how." He says, "Well, I'll teach you." So we walked over to the dozer. It was a little D3 cat. And sure enough, he taught me. He went in there, grabbed a key, started it, said, "There you go," walked away. So there I am, young guy, big smile on my face. I go out there and start running this dozer and you figure it out. And my dad came out. He was less than happy to see what I was doing. And I just told him Uncle Barney said I could. And he just shook his head, turned around, walked back in the office, and let me play the rest of the day. I didn't care about that scooter anymore. That was my first real introduction to running equipment, and fall in love with it. I started working here summers and vacations and summer breaks and weekends when I was 14 years old. Worked as a laborer during that time. Did that through school, through high school, through my college years. And then when I came full time, I continued to be a laborer, and then in about, I think it was 2002, Steve Knockreiner approached me about becoming an apprentice. So I became an apprentice operator first year, went through 4 years of my apprenticeship. After that, operated for about a year, then became a supervisor, supervised for several years, and about 5 years ago there was an opportunity to apply for the general superintendent position, which I felt proud to take a shot at it, and so 5 years later, here I am. I work with everybody out in the field. I work with the project managers on a day-to-day, work with the supervisors day-to-day, as far as getting them the equipment that they need, getting them the people that they need. Always working on recruiting, looking for new applicants, working with apprentices, trying to get them into their spot, working with guys that maybe come from different contractors, getting them some opportunity to run different equipment and try to mold people. We have a mentor position now, which has become a real good thing. Someone that's really has the one-on-one time with supervisors, both young and older, experienced and not experienced guys, just to help them in any aspect that we might be doing. So some of the older people that we have, maybe not so much skilled in the computer side of it. There's a good resource for that. And the cool thing about that, it's the only company that I know that has given this opportunity to somebody without any real ties to any one particular job, so they can actually focus on the people. And I think that's really what sets us apart. I would say one of my favorite projects in Edgerton was my first year as an apprentice in about 2002. We were at Port Washington Power Plant, and we were laying the bluff slope back to build a road to access the power plant from the south end. They were converting that plant from coal to gas at that time. So I was working alongside a supervisor there who was kind of mentoring me, and it was a large project. It was probably about 15 guys. And then as it got down to the finished work, that was the first time I really had an opportunity to run my own crew as finished work on that. And then after that job, we went right into the power plant. We actually cleaned out the intake tunnels that were below the power plant itself, so you're at water level. And I remember when they pumped those out, they let the salmon run first, they dammed it off, pumped it out, so by the time we got in there, there was nothing but dead salmon.